Hello, this Professor 627. I'm still with my special guest Hudson, and this video gonna be about gangs. What you gonna say, man?
Well, I'm just thinking of what's going on the streets. Because it's quite sad that in many cases people, and there are housing problems, quite simply, there are housing problems, and when you've got nowhere to sleep, doesn't matter what you're doing and what you're about, but at the end of the day, you ain't got nowhere to sleep. Well, that's not good.
So what you're saying, the problem with gangs is because they don't have nowhere to sleep?
Well, yeah, and it's also disempowerment. It's all tied up with power and empowerment. I mean, there are so-called post-Cold Wars on the street. And when you look at the background of some of these people, I'm not being funny, but they haven't got anywhere to live. But if they do have somewhere to live, it's very squat. It's a kind of squalor, kind of hostile situation. Or even if they live with their parents or whatever, the situation, because the house may not be big enough. But what I'm saying is, here you are, these same people on the street, fighting over who owns government road, basically. The government street.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're killing themselves
yeah.
over something they don't even own.
Yeah, and now that's to do with power. It's all tied up and related with disempower and disempowerment and the need for ownership and just sort of lost identity kind of thing. But more specifically, what I was thinking is, now we know a lot of black youth are killing each other. That's definitely the case. But I don't know about this black on black violence at all. I don't know how that's appropriate. There was absolutely no doubt that black kids are killing black kids, whatnot. But then white kids are killing white kids. So what I'm thinking is, if a because there are lots of white gangs where there are no black faces at all, there are no black people in it.
Right.
As a matter of fact, some of them are racist, so there aren't going to be no black people in it, and they're killing each other. So what I'm thinking is, when a black-white kid, if two white gangs kill each other, is that white and white violence? And if it isn't, why not? So then that makes me question, who's come up with this term white and white violence? Black on black violence, so who's come up with it?
The media.
Yeah, and why doesn't it relate to when two white gangs kill each other? Or just if a white person kills another white person, period. Be in a gang or out of a gang. Is that white and white violence? I never hear that expression. So what I'm saying is the agenda, what I'm saying is the situation is real, that black kids are killing each other. But as I said again, white kids are killing each other. So why is one called black on black violence and the other one just called homicide?
Well, the people behind the media, they always wanna have a target, right? So the attention's not on them, right?
That's right.
So you got these people who run the media, they own everything, the entertainment industry, they own everything, right? They always need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
So sometimes the scapegoat is black people.
Yeah.
Sorry, the scapegoat's being black people, right? So, but now it's shifted. Now it's the Muslims.
That's right.
Right? So now it's Muslims this and Muslims that, and she's wearing a niqab and the chador and all this silly stuff. They made up some scenario the other day, like, oh, there's a surgeon and they had their face covered in the Muslim veil, and it's all nonsense because no surgeons in this country perform an operation wearing any kind of Muslim thing over their face. They're just making this up to create problems.
You saying they were looking for a victim?
They're looking to create a problem so the attention ain't on them, the attention's on somebody else. So like I'm saying, right now, it's Muslims, getting it? But before historically, it's black people. That's why they bring black on black violence. So it always looks like we be the problem.
That's true. And to bear in mind too that there are a lot of black Muslims, so that's still kind of black folk getting it.
Right.
But we're always in there.
Right.
So even though the target, if you want,
especially with those two guys from Woolwich that done what they done.
That's right. Yeah.
So now they got an excuse to put black people in this terrorist thing and be stopping and searching in the street. The joke is the other day I was listening to the radio, right? You got this guy now. What's this guy name? He was the head of the police, whatever.
Okay.
Logan, was it Leroy Logan?
Oh, Leroy Logan, head of the Black Metropolitan Police Force.
Right. So Leroy Logan talking on the radio about gang violence, whatever, and then he just happened to mention that he was stopped and searched yesterday.
He was stopped and searched.
That's what he said.
Okay.
He said I was stopped and searched by the police yesterday, but it was done in a very professional manner.
So did they know it was him and they stopped and searched him, or was it?
They must know it's him.
Oh right.
To me,
Yeah.
it was his subtle way of letting you know he's being harassed.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So he'll say publicly
Yeah.
that he was stopped and searched yesterday.
Yeah.
Then sometime in the future, he'll let you know that it keeps happening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's not the first time.
That's right.
It's not the first time. So what I'm thinking is, this is divide and rule, quite simply. It's modern day divide and rule. You know, it should be because it's done. You know, it creates a situation where it's a very old one. Look, these people can't control themselves, so we have to step in and intervene. And then they get the opportunity to play mediator, and they're not really playing mediator. You know, and some of these reasons as well. See, it's what they call ghettoization. You know, a ghetto is basically where they put, and this is where. You know, you look at, I mean, you actually look at it, and these are the sort of lowest areas of society where this is happening anyway, where a bunch of young people, all unemployed, no prospects, no money, no future, no career, are all rammed together, and they frustrate each other, and then they turn the knife or the gun on each other. What I'm saying is, you know,
right.
one way of getting rid of it, instead of observing it and sending in their so-called experts and telling us nonsense about what's going on, all they need to do is fix the situation. You mean? Because these are the most deprived areas in London, and that is not unrelated. Everywhere you look, it's the most deprived areas of London, where you're crammed like sardines, and they're frustrating each other. You mean, and they take the frustration that's been put on them by the government out on each other.
Right.
That's the plan. And it's the same government that's stepping with the experts and comment on what's going on. Comment on what they've created.
That's right.
Commenting on what they created.
What
and
they
so,
what they created and what they could stop if they wanted to stop.
That's right. Yeah, quite simply, by providing jobs and career and opportunities.
That's right.
But they're not doing that because it's a polar part of the game.
Because it's the revolving door.
Yeah.
You got something called a revolving door,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
They need criminals to go to put in their prisons.
Yes, that's right.
So they want the situation to be there. That's why they promote gang violence and all this craziness on Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And there's silly games. Kids killing kids and all of that stuff. Whatever.
That's right. That's again. I mean, previously I just talked about politics or party politics. This is more of it. It's all government level, top down.
Right.
That's what it is. It's again, but we just got to realize, you know, and the whole voting system tied in with this. You know, nobody fixes that problem. You mean, no matter what government you got in, you got a two-tier government system here. Labour. So let's just talk about that. The rest can forget it. You know, Labour and Conservatives, Tories. No matter who gets in, the situation's the same there. It's always the same. You mean? So politics, it goes right across the board. You mean? Doesn't matter who's in that situation, it's the same. Because it gives them the opportunity. So quite simply, and it's been said often, they create a problem and pretend they're trying to fix it. A problem which they essentially created.
This is what David Icke said.
Yeah.
He calls it problem, reaction, solution.
Yes, that's right.
What they do, they create a problem.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what's going on here now with this bicycle thing. A time's going to come soon when they're going to charge you for riding a bicycle, which is basically a child's toy.
Yeah.
So every day on the news now for the last 2 years, bicycle, accident, bicycle.
That's right.
It's just a ploy because they're going to charge you somewhere down the line. Yeah? So basically they create the problem. They're encouraging everyone now to ride bicycles. More people ride bicycles. Then the solution is going to be you're going to have to pay or get insurance or whatever. That be the solution. So they create the problem. Yeah? Then they give you the solution.
That's right.
Problem, reaction, solution.
That's right.
It's called the Hungarian dialect.
Yes. And that system, they're not really created to solve any problems. It's created to just keep going around. You said revolving door, didn't you?
That's right.
Yeah, it's just, you know, what I'm saying is, you know, so you can even say they're only appearing to pretend that they're. So first of all, they definitely create the situation. Then they step in as though they're trying to fix it, and they're not even doing that. You mean it's just a revolving door, like you said?
That's right. It's just a game they play.
Because, you know, money makes
business.
the world go round. Yeah, that's right.
Business.
It's business. You know, the show must go on.
That's right.
That's right. But and this is what we're voting for. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you get to a point now. This is the thing. You get to a point now where you've had enough of that for a while. And this is what keeps. This is the revolving door. You've had. So let's say whoever's doing it, whatever party's in, they're doing that, and then you've had enough. And come election time, you say, right, I'm fed up of that, so I'm going to vote the next one in. Who not only did it the last time they were in, but are going to do it again when they come in again.
That's right.
And yet, if you actually look at the system, you find that by the time somebody's out of government for a while, you know, the reasons for which they voted back in again because you've had enough of the present government doesn't make sense. Because in that amount of time, there's no evidence that they've actually changed their policies for which you voted them out in the first place. You see how crazy the whole thing is? So let's say now Labour's waiting to come back in now. By the time if people are fed up enough of the coalition and you vote them back in, they won't be voted in based on any evidence that they changed their behaviour. since the last time they were out.
That's right.
It's just a reaction vote. It's always a reaction vote. I've had enough of this present government. I'm going to vote back in the last crooks. Sorry, I mean the last government that was in before. That's all that's happening.
That's what happens. You never vote for anybody because they're good.
No.
You just vote because you want to get out the people who's in power. You want to get them out.
Yeah.
So you vote for this other people.
Yes.
Who's the same people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the key is, you know, they were in before and you already had enough of them and you voted them out. And then you voted the next ones in and then you got fed up of them and now you're about to go full circle again.
Well, what we need is a new political system now. That's what we need.
Yes.
There's no point keep voting Labour, Conservative and Liberal.
No.
That's why they got all this coalition stuff now.
That's right.
To make you believe there's a difference.
Yeah.
But it's the same nonsense.
No, it's just two crooks together instead of one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. It's just joint forces.
And I believe a coalition's for 5 years.
Yeah. Yes.
So now you got them in now for 5 years rather than 4.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're absolutely joke. So what you need is, you know, you just need an overall, quite simply. You mean, this is never going to solve a problem. Stop voting for any of these parties. And see, another thing that why this is always gone is because if there's any kind of rules to this, quite simply, it should be the case that if a government comes in and fails to do what they said, there should be a deadline to when they get kicked out. That's what I think should work. This is something working towards the solution. They shouldn't be allowed to be there for 5 years failing to do what they claim to do. They should be kicked out very early.
Right.
That's what should happen.
Yeah.
In order to change, until that happens, or something else sensible, then we'll just be going full circle all the time, and that's the game that they need.
But the situation is this, man. Politics, it's just a game, right?
Yeah.
But what happens now? They give us all these distractions. Now we got this thing called television now. And movies, so we're watching this show, that show,
and all these
games, watching
games.
football, this movie, we watch X Factor.
Yeah.
So now we're distracted watching all these city shows and all watching soccer and all these things, right? And while we're watching that, they in the business of running the world and making the money.
That's right.
By the time we wake up from watching whatever, it's too late.
That's right. And then they fling in some little, but that's right. And then by the time you woke up from, you know, watching all these programs, he said, it's time for you to vote again. It's time for you to vote somebody else in again who's going to screw you over.
Who's going to do the same thing.
That's right.
Because when Tony Blair came into power, he came into power singing the theme song was things will only get better.
That's right.
Things was only going to work.
There we go, brother.
And this guy who was supposed to be Labour was conservative.
Oh, he taught the conservatives how to be conservative. Tony Blair definitely taught. That's his legacy. He taught the conservatives how to be conservative. Can't you see Mr. Cameron? That's all he's doing. Mr. Cameron's aims and objectives. You know, I think it's his dream to be the next Tony Blair.
That's right. They're all the same.
That's right.
So you got this character called Tony Blair who's successful at what he does.
Yeah.
So now all the politicians start to look like Tony Blair.
That's right.
Like you say,
David Cameron, the whole thing
is the same thing.
That's right. The whole thing.
A different face.
That's right. Different face, different name. And politics. That's right.
Yeah.